the card and make sure all the chads were off as the instructions called for?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Did you see anything where you marked or you thought you might have marked?
No, at that time, I don't think the issue of pregnant ballots
You weren't paying that close of attention?
No, it was never an issue.
I don't have any other questions. Either you have any questions concerning any matter I may have inquired about?
No, sir.
If not, may the witness stand down without objection. Thank you. Call the next witness.
Sir.
Well, that was quick. That was almost warp speed relative to some of the previous witnesses we've had. That is the fourth witness now to get up and get down. The three previous ones stretch over about a day and a half. So William Roloff, police officer from Broward County, now off the stand, now waiting for the next witness to be called. And it's our understanding, based on the lunch break, that the Bush attorneys only wanted to call two. So if the judge is right when he said after the lunch break that we're moving things along, we will see now, indeed, if the time has accelerated here. Back inside.
The evidence and the plaintiffs have transcripts.
I can answer Your Honor's question.
Go ahead.
Indeed, the plaintiffs offered as exhibits 23 through 31,
Correct.
9 of the 10 sessions, but they didn't offer the 10th, and I'm now offering the 10th, which is Defendant's Exhibit 61. I gave them a copy of it this morning.
All right.
And that relates to the session that was held on Tuesday, November 14, at year 2000, from 4 p.m. to 9:20 p.m. in the evening.
All right.
And
Without objection, let it be so marked and received in evidence as the defendant's Bush, exhibit number 61.
And at this time, Your Honor, Governor Bush calls Thomas Spencer as a witness.
Ask him to come forward and be sworn. Would you hand that transcript up, Mr. Terrell, if you have it, sir?
I'm sorry.
All right.
Tom Spencer, Your Honor.
Okay. If you will
Please raise
receive.
your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to the death that you will give in this issue, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you.
Be seated, sir. Did we get that transcript yet up, or are you using it?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I can give it to you, Your Honor.
Mr. Clerk, would you go and receive that so that you may duly mark it?
We'd actually pre-marked it, but we did one thing right.
Sir.
I have another. Please state your name, sir.
My name is Tom Spencer,
Mr. Spencer, where do you live?
Miami, Florida.
All right. How long have you lived there?
Since I was 15 years old.
All right. That leads to the next question. How old are you?
40 years.
So you've lived there 40 years. All right. What is your occupation, Mr. Spencer?
I'm a lawyer.
What kind of lawyer are you?
I'm a very good lawyer. But I am a business and commercial litigation lawyer. I handle complex litigation and election type law.
You said you handle some election law matters?
Yes, I do.
Do you feel that you're proficient in election law matters?
Yes, I do.
All right. Before we come back to election matters, which is what this trial is about, I want to make sure that we get straight with everybody about a couple of things. Are you registered to one party or the other, or a third party?
Yes, I am.
Which party is that?
Republican.
How long have you been a Republican, Mr. Spencer?
Since about 1978.
Okay, 22 plus years?
Yes.
And some people are, well, let me ask this. Are you active in Republican affairs?
Yes.
Were you active in this past election?
Yes.
On whose behalf?
On behalf of Governor Bush.
All right, sir. In connection with the matters at the Miami-Dade Canvassing Board, and I want to focus on that, could you tell us just generally what role you had, if any, in that regard?
I had a very extensive role.
Could you give me the time frame in which you were down in Miami-Dade County headquarters, if that's where you were?
Yes. I began my activities in connection with this series of events on the early morning of November the 8th, 2000.
All right. The election was on November 7th.
That's correct.
So shortly after the night of the election, you were on the scene.
Yes.
And where were you?
I was on the 19th floor, the Department of Elections, Miami-Dade County.
And what did you do just generally that day?
On that day, I participated on behalf of the Republican Party of Miami-Dade County to observe the recount, the machine recount of the November 7th results.
All right. Was that the second machine count?
That is correct.
Was it of all or just part of the votes in Miami-Dade County
It was all of them.
for the second time?
That's correct.
All right. Were there other times that you were on the scene at the Miami-Dade County Election Board as time went along during the month of November?
Sir, from the early morning of November the 8th until November the 29th, I was more or less continuously involved in the process of the various recounts, machine counts, and other activities before the canvassing board.
Did you observe the second machine count, that
Yes.
is the recount?
Yes, I did.
Did you observe all of the board hearings that occurred of the canvassing board that occurred after November 8 and through November 22?
Yes, sir.
All right. Prior to that experience, and I'm talking about the experience of this election, which really is, well, the experience of this election, had you had any other experience in terms of viewing up close as an observer elections?
Yes, sir.
Would you tell Judge Sauls generally what that experience had been?
Well, I'm also a political science major, so from the time that I was a college student through my activities as a young lawyer, through the present day, I've always been involved in election law or campaigns in one way or the other, and also observing counts and recounts.
In your experience in Miami-Dade County, do you have the capacity to advise us on, generally speaking, which precincts tend to vote Democrat and which precincts tend to vote Republican?
Yes, as a general rule, I could.
All right. Would you please advise Judge Sauls of that, and in particular in reference to the presidential election this year in Miami-Dade County?
Sure. Well, generally speaking, the precincts in Miami-Dade County are laid out in a numerical method, and so that the lower numbers are along the coastline, the East Coast, and then sort of work their way down, and that is south and west. And that is that the more recent precincts which are opened up are the higher numbers, so that the areas which are the lower numbers are sort of on the East Coast and in the upper northern section of Miami-Dade County. So that the Miami Beach areas, the areas in what we would call Aventura, the Liberty City areas, tend to be, generally speaking, the lower numbers. And those numbers which are in Little Havana, which are to the west of Miami-Dade County, and to the south, the higher numbers tend to be more Republican. For example, in the Coral Gables area, there are more Republican voters. In the western part of Dade County, there are more Republican voters who tend to be Hispanic.
All right. We'll come back to this subject as we talk about what the Miami-Dade County Board did, in fact, in November, based on your personal observation. Let me first turn your attention to November 14, sir. And in particular, I would like to draw your attention to Defendant's Exhibit 61, which Judge Sauls has just admitted. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You need to exhibit.
First, sir, let me ask you if, in fact, there was any kind of manual recount of any precincts on or about November 14 in Miami-Dade.
Yes, sir.
How many precincts?
There were 3 precincts.
Were those manual hand counts?
Yes, there were manual hand counts.
All right, sir. And which 3 precincts are we talking about? Are we talking about precincts that are typically Democrat in their voting pattern or Republican typically in their voting pattern?
These were